Are you a wrestling fan? Then you might know that Vince McMahon is back in charge of WWE Creative. If you didn't know, now you do. And it already sucks. The first hour of this week's Raw was commercial-free and contained only 2 minutes of actual wrestling. Brock Lesnar appeared in both the opening and closing segments, opposing Roman Reigns, and then there was a rerun of a women's tag match WWE had the night before. All this among reports of changes being made on the fly. It sure felt like Vince McMahon was back in charge of creative on Raw After Mania, supposedly an annual tentpole show that resets the company's direction on screen for the next few months, if not the whole year. If you enjoyed the brief break from Vince's booking, which at times at least hinted at being logical and featuring fresh faces, it's over. You're getting the same distilled bullshit that created the competition straight to the vein now. But that's not all, there's even more curiosity about this because there's a law firm sniffing around whether or not Vince shortchanged the company and the shareholders on the sale of WWE. On the other hand, AEW had their version of Raw After Mania, filling Dynamite with the kinds of surprises and new directions and stories that Raw After Mania used to contain. Especially poignant was that Jay White, freshly off leaving in JPW and hotly rumored to be coveted by Triple H and near signing for WWE, arrived in AEW last night. And FTR, also rumored to be heavily desired back in New York by HHH with their contracts reportedly up this month, became tag team champs for the second time, meaning they aren't going anywhere. These could all be isolated incidents, but one can't ignore the upheaval going on in WWE and at least wonder if both White and FTR decided they were better off away from it. What does this mean for the future of WWE? Well, talent is understandably a little jittery about their status within the company. Reports of morale already dropping through the floor just as it had last year are rampant and will probably only get worse if it comes out that Vince is running Smackdown tomorrow night, either from backstage in Portland or remotely. However, none of this matters to the people who matter to the company nor those who run Endeavor. WWE has a built-in audience and following, and although Vince may have shorted the shareholders, they still collected $9 billion from the deal. It's a guaranteed product, and no matter how much Vince drives creativity into the core of the earth, there's a known floor, especially with a new round of TV rights negotiations set to begin this summer. It's been a roller coaster week in the WWE world, and things are only getting more interesting. If you tuned into Monday Night Raw following WrestleMania 39, you might have seen Triple H address the crowd, reassuring fans that nothing was changing following the recent sale to Endeavor. Fans were relieved, and the initial response to his segment was very positive on social media. But then, things took a strange turn. Something just felt off to regular viewers following Triple H's first segment, and the show's pacing was weird. There were a ton of changes from the rumored show outline, and for some reason, almost got a bunch of time in the first hour after getting squashed at WrestleMania. Reviews were not good. Afterward, several outlets started reporting that Vince McMahon and his mustache sat in gorilla position instead of Triple H, who has been running the show for nearly the last year. He allegedly canceled 2 matches, booked at least 2 new ones, and even made changes while the show aired. In the aftermath, there were reports about wrestlers being furious and threatening to demand their releases if McMahon stayed that involved. The fan base is, politely put, not in a good mental place. But the drama doesn't end there. WWE released a statement on social media saying Triple H will address the crowd during a segment on Friday Night Smackdown. Fans are speculating on what he will say, and there seem to be 3 camps. Some think he'll essentially give the same speech he did on Monday, as not everyone who watches SmackDown also watches Raw. Others think he'll reassure fans that he's still in charge and Vince is merely an advisor who was more hands-on because of WrestleMania. And then some believe he will quit because he's been kicked out of the driver's seat, and he won't play second fiddle to his father-in-law. It's anyone's guess what will happen, but it's clear that fans are emotionally invested in the outcome. Some think WWE never listens to the negativity. Still, they're in the process of the biggest sale in the company's history, and Endeavor has undoubtedly noticed all the ugly hashtags and fans freaking out online. Given Vince McMahon's age and stated desire to step back from creative, it seems likely that Triple H will try to reassure fans that he's still in control and here to guide WWE into its next chapter. But with WWE's history of missed opportunities, it's anyone's guess what will happen. He isn't even around anymore, and he just emasculated his son-in-law for everyone to see. The repetitiveness, the blandness, the sameness, the illogical nature of one thing to the next, it's all coming back. You saw it on Monday. Shows filled with decent to better 12 to 18-minute matches? But you'll get Drew McIntyre wrestling Elias for. Well, who knows? So, what does this all mean for the future of WWE? Well, it's hard to say. While Vince McMahon may be back in charge, there are still plenty of talented performers in the company who could potentially carry the torch and create compelling storylines and matches. But the creative direction of WWE will be heavily influenced by Vince's whims, which could lead to some frustrating moments for fans. In contrast, AEW seems on the rise, with a roster full of hungry talent and a willingness to take risks and try new things. Adding Jay White and FTR only adds to their already impressive lineup. And with the recent announcement of their upcoming move to TBS, AEW is positioning itself as a major player in the wrestling world. Of course, competition between the two companies is nothing new. But it's been a long time since WWE has had a legitimate threat to their dominance in the industry. AEW's success is a sign that fans are hungry for something different, something fresh, something that feels like it's being created with their interests in mind. And if WWE doesn't start listening to its audience and taking risks, it could fall further behind. So, what do you think? Are you excited to see Vince McMahon back in charge of WWE? Or are you ready for something new and different? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, thanks for watching. Given Vince McMahon's age and stated desire to step back from creative, it seems likely that Triple H will try to reassure fans that he's still in control and here to guide WWE into its next chapter. But with WWE's history of missed opportunities, it's anyone's guess what will happen. For now, all we can do is collectively smile and reflect on what it means to be a wrestling fan. It's been a week of highs and lows, but one thing's for sure, the WWE world is never dull. So tune into Smackdown this Friday and see what Triple H says.